Hey guys, it's D.Bowie here, and this is things I learned with EG.Zai Spirit Breaker in 706. Usually when you see supports going for early wards in professional or very high MMR games, they smoke before going for it. Zai has a smoke, and yet he doesn't pop it. The thing is, Zai and the enemy team knows how strong they are in comparison, and there's no need to smoke because if he finds someone, he actually wants to hit them in the face, not run away because he knows there are people around him. Also, look how Zai actually stays in a place where there's no vision from the Dire team when they're coming in, and if they actually get there unprepared, he can start chasing them down with Orb of Venom. With that ward, he has vision of Bloodseeker and can easily secure the rune in the early game. But still, look how he positions himself, glued into the trees to lure people into going in. And he keeps doing it. As the creep wave pushes, he's able to get position advantage without risking getting stuck. If you hide yourself in those trees, there's the chance of an enemy staying in front of you and forcing you to learn charge at level 1, and this is actually one of the biggest mistakes I feel people could do this game. Puck is seriously hard to gank, TA has no disable to help him or a stun, and that's the same for Omni Knight. In this lane, he has way more chance of doing something meaningful with the passive. See how Disruptor had no idea he was there? He only learns the passive now, and look how much impact he causes in 5 seconds. Charge level 1 is only good if you have a lot of damage or control, and that's not the case for most of these lanes. He goes out, and look at his positioning again. When he knows that Dire can't see him, he eats a tree and plays aggressively, but they knew where Spirit was around. I guess this was a little bit too aggressive. Look how much time Zai buys though, and how they almost get 2 kills before he falls. After the heal, he attacks Earth Spirit, but Zai always goes for the next choke point, trying to buy as much time as possible. In this case, he knew that Omni has heal, waits the cooldown, but he dies anyways. Pretty unfortunate. When you die without getting level 2, learning the bash as your first skill, you really need to chill and get your level 2, because the strength of the bash at level 1 is running your opponents down and abusing how strong the space carry is at level 1. When your enemies are level 2 and they buy boots, I mean they killed you, they're gonna have gold advantage, you can't just go in and try the same thing again. He gets a rune, gets level 2, and pay attention how he goes in. He charges from the fog, but notices that he buys a stealth shield. A lot of roaming low MMR Spirit Breakers don't get the item, but this is ridiculously strong on him. They kill Disruptor as well as Bloodseeker, and even though he dies, Purification was almost ready, and you can see how much of an impact Stealth Shield made. When he respawns again, we can see him not going for the aggressive play immediately. Spirit Breaker benefits a lot from early levels, so instead of charging top or whatever, he smokes to steal the bounty rune. But the main point of the steal is that he will get level 2 Charge of Darkness with it. The increase in stun duration and speed is great, and allows you to not be that stereotypical level 2 Spirit Breaker at 8 minutes that charges everyone, dies before getting the kill, and then complains that you lost the game. You really don't want to keep dying, and you want to get the levels, even though you're a roamer. That smoke makes sure that no ward spots him going for the entire play. He also wards a location that Enigma would probably resort to if he dies afterwards. Easy charge, easy kill, and pay attention to Zai's HP. He would 100% die here without Stealth Shield after this dive. And even then, he needed to charge the large camp. Pretty nice play. The big play starts now though. One of the most common things among Spirit Breaker players is that they like to charge lanes to save gold for TP scrolls. But TPs can be very effective. Since Zai was not cheap, and he was looking out for his brother IX Mike, he easily gets a kill on Bloodseeker instead of trying to charge him from one base to another. And they can even dive Disruptor. It gets better though. 2 extra heroes show up, and look at Zai's charge. He had it ready for a long ass time, and instead of charging Bloodseeker as soon as he shows up, he positions himself in a way to hit both enemies with the charge by going for Earth Spirit instead of the obvious enemy. He saves Omni, and when Shadow Shaman shows up, he attacks him until shackles are over, and only then charges Earth Spirit instead of Bloodseeker, damaging and stunning both enemies, securing another kill before he falls. This time, Zai decided to charge Puck, and it's obviously a very low chance kill. You can see that Zai didn't have high hopes for this one. He instantly takes the aggro away, but I love how he plays this. He wards an access point and hides himself, knowing that this charge would probably lure enemies there. The TP he saw when he dived was Enigma's, and he has a vision of him now with that ward. Since Shadow Shaman is positioned here, easy kill. They pressure the tier 1, and Zai goes for even crispier plays. When you're taking a mid tier 1 tower in 7 minutes, you can be damn sure this will lure TPs. Only when Zai sees the TPs coming, he goes for a dive on Disruptor top. This means that they can easily dive tier 2s with no reaction, and since Bloodseeker is tilted and underleveled, this is another double kill for our beautiful boy. The most important thing to note after that double kill is how Zai plays until his level 6. Spirit Breaker's power spike in the early game is very similar to Pudge in my opinion, but he tampers off even faster, in the sense that you can't go all out. It's not easy to get solo kills with Spirit Breaker at level 5 compared to a Pudge that is doing fine in the game. Pay attention how Zai approaches the game in this period from level 5 to 6. He goes for a charge on Earth Spirit that secures them the tier 1 and a kill. And since he dies, he's not trying to go full retard and keep diving. He just creates enough chaos to be relevant, but not to die. He charged Enigma here, but he definitely didn't expect it to get a kill. He finds Disruptor and thankfully disengages. But what you want to do is always annoy people, and if they don't disengage, then maybe you can go in again and finish it off. Or if you notice that people TP to that area, you can go for another kill somewhere else. This time he finds Earth Spirit, charges, lures Puck, so that charge alone forces 3 heroes in the mid lane and ultimate, and he spent 100 mana while having decent chances to disengage with another charge later on. This is one of the biggest problems Spirit Breaker players faces. Without level 6, you're not great at solo kills, and sometimes even with level 6 it's hard if you're not ahead in levels. And Zai is not behind, but definitely not super high level. Afterwards, he gets a bounty, charges Bloodseeker, and you can see how much of a reaction Zai provokes here. Black Hole, Static Storm, 2 TPs, and Zai gets away and also plants a ward. When he gets level 6, then you can see that Zai really wants to fight. He buys a smoke, and with Shadow Shaman being level 6, this is a great time to go. They kill Bloodseeker, they force Static Storm, but look what Zai's next movement is. He sees Puck there, but instead of charging in and probably not achieving anything since he has no ult, he checks whether Puck has vision or not, while he waits for TA to force phase shift, guaranteeing another kill. This is simple, yet a lot of people don't try to communicate and ask TA to just try to bait this kill. Yes, this is a very high MMR game and maybe TA did this without Zai even saying anything, but it's not like you can waste 2 seconds and ask your mid player to try to do it. Later on, with TA having Desolator, Radiant goes for a Roshan, and pay attention to this charge. There is no tier 2 top, which means that Zai can go for this and there's no reaction possible unless everyone is hiding behind Puck, and he had vision of Earth Spirit mid and Enigma Baby's bottom. I'm not really sure about committing the ult here since Puck is a hard kill, but they force him back to base, and as Earth Spirit dewards the shrine, they can dive him, and this time Puck is not there to help him. In my opinion, this is the biggest strength of Spirit Breaker. After the early game dives, is all about changing the focus of the game, forcing rotations, harassing people, all of that ideally without dying. Another common problem with Spirit Breaker players is that they have trouble knowing how to approach sieges and pushes in general. In this game, it's clear that Radiant is ahead, at least in gold, and I can see a lot of players just charging in and expecting to win the fight since they have Aegis. But pay attention to the enemy. They have tons of counter initiation and AoE damage, so if they just group around someone, they have Black Hole, Bloodrite, Static Storm. Also, he will never be able to ult if he initiates on Dire with charge. He needs to go in later, maybe cancel a Black Hole with the ult or something, and that's it. They deal some damage and they disengage without Zai doing anything. Do not feel forced to initiate at all times, or you might send your entire team to a disaster fight and throw all the advantage away. I'm a big fan of Zai's next item. Aghanim Scepter is not an item that a lot of players go for, at least in my skill bracket, but it's a great item this game. I'm not saying this is good every game, but not only increases the pace of the game because the cooldown gets reduced by a lot, but even more importantly, increases the cast range. Black Hole is one of the only ways that Dire can turn this push pushes into kills for them, and the eggs really helps cancelling it, even through BKB. Even though Zai is farming the item, look how he approaches this play here. As soon as the creep wave dies and no one has vision of him, he charges Earth Spirit. Very long charge, and the thing is, at this stage of the game, Zai will gather 3 or maybe even 4 heroes to deal with that because they don't know if the enemies are smoked behind Spirit Breaker or what's going on. So if they gather, Zai can spot wards, he is undeniably wasting their time, and he is the one that chooses when he wants to pull away from this. With a timely empowering haste, he dodges everything, while for close to 20 seconds, he wasted all those heroes' time while his team farmed and did whatever they want. I talk this a lot here, but wasting people's time is something amazing in Dota. It's hard to be quantified, but it's just way better than trying to, I don't know, charge Disruptor, get Glimpse, and then Black Hole and die. Radiant gets another Aegis, and again, just watch how Zai positions himself for the push. He stands around his team, but never initiates. Someone probably told Zai that Enigma had a Linken's, and this is the only thing he did the entire push. Spirit Breaker feels like such a brave and beautiful strong hero, and that's what usually makes you lose gold in the game. Do not randomly initiate when the enemies have so much counter initiation, like Earthshaker, Earth Spirit, all those heroes. He only breaks Linken's in case he needs to ult Enigma later on, and since he knows Enigma can't join the fight because of the Lotus Orb here, he ults Bloodseeker, but he's already leaving the fight as his ult lands, and even then, you can see what Enigma can do in this game. TA doesn't have a lot of attack range, Omni and Spirit Breaker are melee heroes, as well as Chaos Knight, and even though they take barracks, Enigma lands a nice Black Hole. The push slowly unfolds, and since now Zai knows that the Black Hole is on cooldown, and by the way, great idea of them to push again right afterwards, using the long cooldowns on the Dire team, he can ult here and just stands his ground. Eventually they win the game, and this is it, guys. Well, this wraps up for today. If you enjoyed this video, please guys, give it a thumbs up. Pugna is a platform where you can learn from people like Chessie, Fogged, Monib, and get better at the game. They have now great content on the new patch, and if you want to raise your MMR, it's a great time. Just figure out the patch faster than others and get those easy, crispy wins. By the way, guys, Pugna released a new feature. It's called Oracle. It's this amazing tool or website or whatever. It's free and it allows you to improve in a way that pretty much no other thing allows you to. He can check a lot of stats that I never seen displayed, like how many ancients you take, be it about team fighting, farming, deaths, the items you go for, the gold you farm, how much gold you lose with deaths. There's just a lot of different stuff, and you need to register on Pugna, but it's free, so check it out. It's probably one of the most amazing things in Dota right now.